Hello and welcome to today's big story. I'm Flora Swai and we have devastating news out of Ukraine where a massive daytime barrage allegedly by Russia has claimed the lives of at least 42 people and severely impacted the country's largest children's hospital. The attack on Kyiv marked the heaviest bombardment of the city in almost 4 months and one of the deadliest strikes of the war, hitting 7 of the capital's 10 districts. The Okhmatdyt Children's Hospital, Ukraine's biggest medical facility for children, was among the targets. Though the attack on it leveled a wing of the hospital's premises, the impact of it has put the future of its young patients at long-term risk and plagued parents with dilemma. The strike interrupted critical medical procedures, including open-heart surgery, and forced young cancer patients to receive their treatments outdoors. According to the country's health minister, at the time of the attack, the 10-storied hospital was caring for 627 patients. The hospital's Director General, Volodymyr Zofnir, told reporters that the building where they conducted dialysis for children with kidney failure or acute intoxication is ruined entirely and estimated the overall damage at $2.5 million. Daniel Bell, the head of a United Nations team tracking human rights violations in Ukraine, said at least 2 people were killed at the hospital and about 50 were injured, including 7 children. She said there would have been a lot more casualties of patients if patients hadn't been taken to a bunker when air raid sirens first sounded. Zofnir said one of the 2 people killed at the hospital was a female doctor who had taken children to the shelter before going back to check whether anyone had been left behind. The attack has terrorized families and severely impacted their children already battling life-threatening diseases. Families are now grappling with the dilemma of where to continue their children's treatment. We'll tell you the story of Oksana Halak. She only learned about her 2-year-old son Dimitro's diagnosis, which is acute lymphoblastic leukemia, at the beginning of June. She immediately decided to have him treated at Okhmatdyt because it's one of the best hospitals in Europe. She and Dimitro were in the hospital for his treatment when the sirens blared across the city. They couldn't run to the shelter as the little boy was on an IV, and it was vitally important not to interrupt those IVs. Shortly after that, they were evacuated to the National Cancer Institute, and now Dimitro is one of the 31 patients who, amid a difficult fight with cancer, have to adapt to a new hospital. With their arrival, the number of children being treated for cancer there has doubled. Dimitro and the other patients were offered evacuation to hospitals abroad, and Halak wants his further treatment to be in Germany. Other hospitals in the city that took in children are also struggling with overcrowding due to the influx of patients from Okhmatdyt, where hundreds of children were being treated at the time of the attack. However, there are other patients that are willing to stay back in Kyiv and resume treatment, as going elsewhere would mean retaking all the tests from the beginning, which could delay treatment process. Director General of the National Cancer Institute, Olena Yefimenko, said the destroyed Okhmatdyt is the pain of the entire nation. In the aftermath, Ukrainians have rallied to support Okhmatdyt. Almost immediately after the attack, messages began circulating on social media networks to raise money for the hospital's restoration. Many parents whose children were treated there wrote messages of gratitude, saying their children survived due to the hospital's care despite difficult diagnosis. As per an AP report, in just 3 days, Ukrainians and private businesses raised more than $7.3 million through a national fundraising platform. Efforts to restore the hospital are already underway, but it may take months before it can reopen. Meanwhile, the doctors continue to care for the evacuated patients while working tirelessly to get the hospital reopened. In the meantime, Russia has denied responsibility for the attack, claiming without evidence that a Ukrainian air defense missile struck the hospital. Kyiv, however, has presented what it calls unequivocal evidence of a direct hit from a Russian Kh-101 cruise missile. Video footage obtained by news agency Reuters shows a missile flying directly towards the hospital. Also, Pope Francis on Tuesday expressed his great sorrow about the hospital attack and his deep shock at the escalation of violence. This attack on Ukraine's largest children's hospital facility, that is the Okhmatdyt hospital, has received widespread global condemnation.